Welcome back to Renegade GCM. Today we have another gameplay video with Red Sanji with the Whitebeard Pirates versus Black Yellow Luffy from Starter Deck 13. The opponent chooses to go first. We take a mulligan. They deploy their Garb Search for the top cards for a Ace, Saba, or Luffy, a 5 or less. And they get the baby Ace. Passing it back to us here. We're at 2 Dawn. Don't really have anything going on. We're just going to pass turn. So with Black Yellow Luffy, we want to starve them on their life while still maintaining some kind of pressure so they don't build up too much cards in hand. Because when Luffy gets to 0 life, his leader ability activates where he can add 2 characters from his trash, a 5 cost, to the top of his life, face up. Luffy gets really big once he starts being able to cycle the little brothers with the big brothers. So he's going to put 2 Dawn on and go 7 into 5 here. We take that first hit. We get a blocker, which is good. So on us, we're at 4 Dawn here. We're going to use our search event, trying to find something else. We know Luffy gets big, so we grabbed a 2K. We could have grabbed the blocker there, but Luffy has a lot of ways to remove characters from the field. So we're going to deploy our blocker here. Like I said, they have 6 cards in hand, so we want to still maintain some sort of pressure. Like, just attack them enough where they feel comfortable countering out. But not every Luffy player will do that. Some of them want to get to 0 immediately, depending on their opening hand. So they use a 2K to get out of that, which is great. Luffy's at 5 Dawn. Now we have the double attack ace, which would be great if we can catch them with some their 2 face up life and we can sneak that double attack in because they'll go to the bottom of their deck. So they use their Luffy effect to trash the top card of their life. They trash a Raigo, which is great. So 5 into 5 here. We're looking to like trying to think what we want to. We don't want to over counter, but we just take the hit because those 2 aces right there, the one from the starter deck, is great when they're trying to use like removal spells on it, like with their Rocket Luffy. We can give it -2 and keep it around. So here we're gonna go 6 in. We're just trying to like give them enough of an attack where they feel comfortable to counter out of it. So they gave us another 2K. We're gonna deploy the ace. We're not gonna worry about giving it rush. We don't want to like get their life down too easy for them. Because if we don't take their life, then they'll have to use cards to take their own life, which is cards they can't use against us. But the ace that we just deployed says if it would be removed from the field by an opponent's effect, we can give it -2,000 for the turn instead, once per turn. So they'll have to use 2 forms of removal to get rid of it. We do have our blocker sitting on the field just in case the Luffy gets really big. Instead of having to take the life or empty your hand, we could just absorb a hit with the blocker. So 8 into 5 here. Like, that's 2Ks, which we're fine. We're going to trash the Thatch because it's only purpose of the deck is a 2K. So they still have 6 cards in hand. They're at 3 life, 5 Dawn. Or, no, they have 7 Dawn? So here they're going to go 8 into 5 again. We don't have an effective way to counter, so we're just going to take that hit. We do get a 5 drop 7K King Do, which is a pretty big body. They have 2 open Dawn. And they did end up using 2 of the Hayoris already, which is one of the ways they can remove their life from themselves, or at least stack their life the way they want it. We're going to use our search event here. We have a good selection in hand, so we're just going to grab, looks like another blocker. So we're going to attack 6 into 6 under the rested Luffy character. just to try to get a card out of here. We don't want to focus on their life as much as we want to keep maintain their board. So they did give us a counter for that. So now we're going to deploy King Do, giving it Rush. And we're going to go 7 into 6 here into that Luffy. See if they want to give us some more cards out of hand. Which they did. We'll just pass back. We're not really focusing too much on their life right now. We want to make sure that their hand size doesn't get too big, though. So they're using their own loopy effect to trash the top cards of their life. So it's going to their discard pile instead of their hand, which is great. As far as like not giving them the counter power. So 8 into 7 here. We're going to counter out with a 2K. We want to make sure we keep our bodies on field as much as we can so we can pressure their field. We do have the double attack ace in hand. Here's the Rocket Luffy. So they could use it to trash a Jozu if they choose, or a Fossa blocker, which they do. So they're going to put 3 Dawn on their leader here, making it an 8K swing. They're going to go into life here. We don't really have great counter options. So we just take that hit. Get another 3-5 vanilla. They got 6 cards in hand. So on to us. We're at 10 Dawn already. We're going to deploy our Newgate, giving our leader plus 2,000 for the turn. We see here we put 1 on the ace. Realizing I believe their Luffy is actually an 8K. So here we're debating if we want to pressure into their life, but so we're gonna just chip 1, 7 into 5. They have 1 open Dawn. Like I said, they're getting a little amount of cards in hand, so they take that life. So we don't want to put them to 0. So we just pass it to them. We don't want to give them 0 going into their turn with 0 life just to make their leader effect work. We want them to have to do that on their own. Looks like they have 8 cards in hand. It's a lot of cards. So they're going to deploy out their Sabo blocker, which allows them on play to draw 2 and trash 2. It makes all their entire field immune to KO effects. So they're trashing Little Ace. And a search event. So here I'm checking on their 2Ks. Look like they used 3 of their 2Ks so far. So they should have still 3 more Flampies, 2 more Hayoris, and potentially some other ones depending on the list that they're running. So they're going to deploy another Rocket Luffy here. Assuming they're taking out the Fossa. They chose not to, so which is good. So we're at 10 Dawn here. They have no open Dawn, 6 cards in hand. So we're going to put 1. Here we're going to try to pressure, potentially going for game with only 1 blocker, no open Dawn, 6 cards in hand. They only have 1 blocker, so we have like some good swings here. So we're going to swing 10. We're trying to get them to eat their blocker up. Because we haven't used our Dawn. We used 1 of our Dawn so far, so we still have 9 open Dawn. Excuse me. So here they're going to start countering. They're at 7, 9. So they went their last 2 Hayoris. It looks like there's 1K, a baby Sabo, and another 2K. I think they over-countered there. So we're just going to chip at 6 just so that their Sabo isn't like absorbing way too much. We also want to keep 8 Dawn open in case we want to deploy the Shanks. The 8 drop 10K vanilla. They only got 3 cards in hand. We still have another swing with King Do. So they would need to have one of those two cards in hand has to be a 2K in order to get out of this, or they're going to have to use their blocker. So 6. Alright. Opponent just scoops it up there. As you see, they had one a search event. Like with Luffy, you want to take it slow, but you want to pressure at the same time. We had Newgate, the Shanks, the double attack, the ace that needs to be removed twice, a couple of vanillas, and an ISO searcher. As you see, Sanji with the Whitebeard version can still compete with Luffy, even though like they didn't really get their loop going. But we are also making sure their life wasn't uh, down early enough for them to take advantage of that. But if you guys like it, make sure you like and subscribe. More content coming.